People will say like, oh, you're not being a supportive friend. No, I'm sorry, but when you have a friendship where for years you have to hear about this toxic mess, you've put boundaries down, you've set them in place, and people continue to violate them, I'm sorry, but no. Like, I supported you for as long as I could, but now you are choosing to just be dumb. Like, literally, he's not gonna change. You're not Bob the fucking Builder. Put the hammer down. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I greatly apologize for the lack of content I've been producing. My daughter is on summer vacation and I decided that I want to keep her home for a month so I can spend some time with her. I never realized how hard it is to work and have your kids home 24/7. Like, I got nothing done last week. Nothing. She's downstairs and just, you know, chilling, and I decided to come up here and make a story time because it's been a minute since I spilled some tea with you guys. Today we're coming live from my vanity in my bedroom, and we are going to be doing a story time, but also a get ready with me, because it's been a minute since I've come on here and done a beat. So if you guys want to stick around and hear about the story time, about the time that I basically became friends with my baby father's girlfriend, I encourage you guys to make good choices, but it doesn't mean that I always do. All I'm going to do is keep on watching. Before we get started, don't forget to give this video a huge like, leave a comment down below, subscribe, it is free, join our Coda Crew family, and while you're at it, turn your post notifications on by clicking the bell icon in the corner. That way you are always notified when I post a video here on YouTube, period. Let's get into this ratchet story time.
It's been a minute since we last kicked. And by the way, just got in town. And I won't let cumulus clouds all in the sky.
If there is one product that I will literally be buried with, it is this face cream. It's in vitamin E cream. This is an amazing dupe for the Kiehl's cream, which is like $35 for a small ass tube. This is literally, you guys, 4 ounces, okay? Has vitamin E, 25,000 units in it. It is vitamin E. Vitamin E is so freaking good for your skin. I highly, highly, highly recommend this face cream. I'm learning how to like readjust right now, like having Aubrey home and just doing all of that. It's a lot. I never realized like how much it is, but I'm grateful that I have. Let's get some clips in her hair. Hold on. I'm happy that I created a lifestyle where I can still be a mom and, you know, spend time with her and work. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for your guys and your support on my channel. So sincerely, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. I would not do this without you, and would not be here, most importantly, without y'all. Thank you guys so much. I'm so appreciative. We hit 20K. I cannot believe that we hit 20K. That was such a huge goal of mine, and the fact that we hit it is like absolutely amazing. I'm just so grateful, because if I could individually hug and thank 20,000 of you, I would love that. Also, I am getting a P.O. box finally. They're expensive. I never realized how expensive they were, but you know, a lot of you guys want to send me like letters and things like that, and I want to send y'all stuff too. Now, before we get started, I just want to say that this story is in no way, shape, or form to offend anybody or to make anybody look like bad. It's not to say that I was a perfect person. It's not to say this girl was a perfect person. Wish her the best. Hope she's doing well. I genuinely do not know anything that's really going on in her life right now at all. But I cut off my friendship with this girl, I want to say maybe like 2 years ago. So it's not as fresh. Some time has gone by. I'm sure she's grown. I know I have grown, but I definitely want to tell this story because a lot of you guys have been like saying to me like, you know, can you please make a video about friendship red flags? Can you please make a video about like friendships that you've had that have been successful? I think that in this video, I really do want to highlight a lot when it comes to friendship red flags and, you know, friends maybe not having your best interests or being the best people for you to be around, because there were so many red flags in this relationship. I don't have anything to do with my child's father. He's not involved. So that's also a red flag. The fact that this girl was with him knowing that he did nothing and seemingly was just okay with it. So I met this girl in 2014. I want to say like 3 months after my daughter was born. Was definitely in that phase, and if you've had a baby, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like you are just like going crazy, right? Like you're home all the freaking time. You don't have any human interaction. You can't really like go anywhere besides like doctor's offices and like appointments and stuff like that, because the baby's too young. Of course, you don't want the baby to get, you know, sick or anything like that. So you kind of have this like period of, I call like the mom zombie, where you just this is why we can't have nice things. You literally are just home constantly. You like don't really do your hair much. You don't do like your makeup much anymore. And you kind of start to like get depressed, right? My friend's birthday was coming up, and it was actually that friend from my story time of I cheated on my boyfriend with my ex. And I was talking a bit about how I had this like friend and how I really valued our friendship, but unfortunately he's still friends with like my child's father, and I just feel like that's just like insane because he does nothing to her for her, and I just don't get how people like, you know, support him and like stay with somebody like that. And also I just don't trust him because I feel like, you know, my daughter's father should not have access to what she's doing, who she's with, where she's going, or what she looks like, because, you know, you don't know her, you don't come around, you don't support her, you don't ask about her. I feel like this friend, because he was friends with both of us, would like show him like pictures of like my social media, that way he could know, you know, updates, and I didn't think that that was right. I just didn't trust him. Above all, I'm always going to protect my daughter. If that means cutting off people, so be it. At this time, you know, my daughter was so young, so there was like a little bit of hope of like her daughter, of her father. We call him Ryan, that's his alias name. There was hope that, you know, maybe he would like come around, or maybe he would do better, or maybe he would change. So at this time, you know, me and him were like pretty cool, and I was cool with people that he was cool with because we used to have the same friend group. So it was my friend's birthday. We're not going to give him a name because he's really just like not important to the story at all, but he was like, hey, like, know that you just had your baby a couple months ago, but you know, this is what we're gonna do for my birthday. I hope you can come. If you can't, like, I totally get it, totally understand. Of course, my best friend Tori is in this story. She's in like literally all of them, from the Adrian series to the Ryan series to just about absolutely everything. So me and her basically meet up, we get ready, and we end up going to this hookah bar. Now I'm just gonna say it was called Sky. I used to use like an alias name for it. I don't understand why, because number one, it's not open anymore, and number two, like, who actually cares? Like like literally, who cares? So I went to this hookah bar, and it was called Sky, and this hookah bar was always like really lit. Like, it literally was so much fun. There would be DJs there. There was 2 separate rooms. There was these beautiful, it was like Arabian type theme. Like, there was always these like really pretty drapes hanging from the walls, and it had this really cool like iridescent vibe where like at nighttime, like the lights would be off, but they would have like LED lights on with like different colors and stuff. So it was just a really fun place to go to, and most importantly, it was good to go to if you were not old enough to like drink yet, because at this time I was 20 and we were not old enough to be going into like, well, sometimes, but we were not old enough to be like going into clubs and like drinking and stuff. We end up getting ready and we go there, and I'm just hanging out with all of my friends, and like nowhere in my mind did I think, is Ryan gonna show up? Like, nowhere in my mind did I think that my baby father was going to show up, because he hadn't really been going there for a while. That's why I went. Like, I went because like I don't want to see him when I go out. He says he's gonna come around, he says he's gonna do this and that, but like so far it's been 3 months and he literally has not done anything for my child. Like, I had my daughter and he came around like literally maybe once or twice, and that was it. And didn't buy her diapers, wasn't buying her formula, wasn't helping me out with daycare payments, wasn't, you know, doing like literally anything to go at my daughter was like 4 months old, go to court because I needed to put child support in order, because I'm like, this guy is literally not doing anything. And the worst thing is, like, I would understand if you just were out completely, but he would say that he was going to do all of these things, like he was going to help me do this and that, he was going to be super involved, and then just wasn't. So it's almost like, why promise it if you know that you're not going to be able to hold those promises and make them come to fruition? So like at this time I was kind of like frustrated with him. I'm like, and I knew, like, going into this, by the way, like, I knew I was going to be a single mom. Like, I knew in my heart and my soul that I was going to be a single mom, just because of how Ryan was as a person. So nowhere in my mind when I'm at this hookah bar am I thinking that Ryan's going to show up. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, like he's, and like I'd even asked like the people that we were with. It was me, my friend Tori, and then 2 of our other guy friends. And We'll just give them names. So the first guy friend we'll call Tom. The second guy friend we will call Jake. So Tom and Jake were there, and I even asked them, I was like, oh, does Ryan come to this like hookah bar anymore? And they were like, nah, like the past 4 times we've been there, we really haven't seen him. So like, I don't expect him to show up. And I was like, okay, great, because it's exactly what I want. Long story short, we are having fun. We're just smoking some hookah, celebrating my friend's birthday. I just realized like why every time I'm telling a story that involves my child's father or, you know, anybody that I've met who has like ruined my life has literally been at a hookah bar. I just don't get like, why have I not learned? Like, that's what I don't understand. So like I said, fast forward some time, we are all just like talking, we are just smoking some hookah, having a good ass time, and out of nowhere I look over and I look by the door, and tell me why Ryan, my child's father, walks in the door. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you've got some nerve showing up here, because for one, you don't have a job. So if you don't have a job and you don't have no money to be giving me anything towards diapers, wipes, formula, clothes, burp cloths, daycare, anything for that nature, why the fuck are you at a hookah bar?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Everybody knows that hookah bars are mad expensive. So he walks in and I'm just like, yo, he got some nerve, because number one, like, you should be looking for a job. You should be not spending money on stupid shit. You say you have no money, so how are you at a hookah bar? I just was like livid. And then of course in the back of him, because keep in mind, he don't got no car, never has a car. If he does have a car, there's no insurance. He's illegally driving, his license is expired. Like, it's literally always a shit show with this man. So in behind him walks a girl, because of course he cohorts girls into this sob story about him and his life. That way they can help him and drive him everywhere, give him money for gas and for food and things like that. Like, he basically uses what's happened to him as a sob story to get girls to feel bad for him, so they end up doing what he wants them to do. He's a narcissist. He's a freaking narcissist with a capital N. So in walks this girl behind him, and I'm just like, yo, poor girl. Like, poor girl, that's his next victim. Feel so bad for her. She probably is like in love with him, doesn't know how to get out of the situation. I had no problems with her, and for the sake of the story, we're gonna call her Nicole. So Nicole walks in behind him, and I have no issues with her, because here's the thing. The minute that my daughter's father cheated on me, all of my feelings for him went out the window. Like, there was no more love there. I didn't even honestly like him. Like, eventually, you know, like, I got past that, and then I was able to like get along with him for the 4 times that he's ever seen my daughter in the span of 8 years. But I never like disliked anybody that he was with. Like, if anybody was with him, I more so felt bad for them, because I'm like, how hurt and traumatized are you to be with somebody like this and actually think that's love? She basically walks in, and the thing about me is that I have a really bad resting bitch face. I literally went for New Year's to Boston. It was me, my friend Barb, Christina, and Leo. And I wanted to ask the waiter or waitress if they had green tea, because I like was kind of tired. And I was looking at the waitress because she was talking to somebody. So I was looking at her, that way when she was done, I could kind of like flag her down. That way, like, I didn't lose sight of her, right? And I guess when I was looking at her, my face was like this. And I swear to God, I did not mean to. I just have a really bad resting bitch face. And like, my friend Leah was like, Dakota, you literally look like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, you look like you're literally about to kill somebody right now. And I was like, oh, I just have a really like bad resting bitch face. And like, people my whole life have told me like, oh, I didn't come up to you at first when I first met you, because not gonna lie, I kind of like thought you were a bitch. And it's something that has been told to me my whole entire life, where people, like, I guess when they first meet me, they think that I'm a bitch, or they think I'm intimidating, and then when they talk to me, they're like, oh my God, like, this is the nicest girl I've literally ever met. Like, what was I thinking? So I guess when she walked in, she saw my face, and like I said, I just looked at her, and in my head I was like, poor girl, like, I feel so sorry for her, like, please get out, literally get out. And I guess she said that when she walked in, she saw me, and that it looked like I was giving her dirty looks, and that I guess she, in her mind, was like, oh, well, you know, because she knew about me. I didn't know about her, but she knew about me. So she looked over, and I guess in her head it was like, this is your baby father, you probably fucking hate me, whatever, not knowing, like, girl, you can have him, please, take him, take the trauma, take the issues. I got out while I could, because I did not want to deal with that. Now, keep in mind, Nicole was also friends with Tom and Jake, right? So every year in this town, a couple towns away from me, they do basically this thing where they'll do like haunted hay rides and haunted like walkthroughs, like the haunted aisles basically, you know, for Halloween when you get a bunch of group of friends and you walk through the forest and people jump and scare the shit out of you. They all used to do that together. Fun fact, when I first announced that I was pregnant with my daughter, instead of like what a normal person would do, which would be to post it on your personal account, my daughter's father, because he is a clown in real life, but also for Halloween during these haunted aisles, he plays a clown, right? So he has his personal Facebook page, and then he has his clown page. I don't know why, but he has like a clown Facebook and Instagram page. Tell me why he posted, the nerve, I will never forget this day, he posted my daughter's ultrasound picture on his clown page and said, I'm gonna be a dad. Do you know how quick I called him and was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you post that on your clown page?
Is it crack, cocaine, or meth you smoke?
Instead of your regular page. Are you okay? There has to be a couple. Like, the hamster wheel has been spinning for a long time, but the hamster fell off ages ago. I will never forget that day. Anyway, not a part of the story. Yes, Nicole used to also participate and like do the haunted aisle with them. Let me remind you, you don't get paid for it. It's volunteer work. So he had time to be a clown in real life, but also in the haunted aisle for the months of end of September, October, beginning of November, but didn't have time to go get a job. Priorities, make it make sense. Fast forward, and basically they used to do, I guess, it together. Now, Jake never did it, but he would just go and like basically watch them and hang out with them behind the scenes. And so that's how she ended up meeting my baby father, Ryan. And it's also how she ended up meeting Jake and Tom, because they all did the haunted aisle together. So she comes in and they basically are like, oh shit, Nicole, what's up? And they kind of like call her over to come say hi. And she's like a bit hesitant to come up to the group because I'm there. And I guess I was like, she thought I just was like very intimidating and probably hated her. Eventually she ends up coming over and she, you know, says hi to Tom, says hi to Jake, and then doesn't really talk to my best friend Tori and I at all. And so like my best friend Tori, because she is just herself, is like, hey, what's up? My name's Tori, you know, how are you? What's your name? And she's like, hi, my name is like Nicole. And I just was like, all right, I'm just gonna break the freaking ice. And I was like, oh, hi honey, like my name's Dakota, very nice to meet you. And that's like basically like my personality. I'm just like a nice person. So I guess when I introduced myself, she kind of like loosened up a bit and was like, oh, okay, like this girl like doesn't hate me, cool. She ends up sitting down and we all start talking and chatting and having a good time. Now, Ryan has not once come to say hi, come to sit down, nothing. And Tom and Jake are his friends. So he doesn't come to sit down, doesn't come and like say anything. And I know it's because he's scared. Like he's scared because he knows that he just got, number one, you got no job and you're coming into a hookah bar. Like that pisses me off. And number two, you're walking in with a girl in front of me. Not that I care, but during this time he was consistently trying to get me back. So this is just like confirmed in my head, like this is why I don't want to be with you, because you think that you're a player and you're not, because you're stupid. You can't be a player and stupid. You can't be a cheater and be dumb. You have to pick one struggle. And most importantly, you can't be a cheater and dumb and broke. Like those are just three struggles. Like you have to pick one and work on the rest, please. He ends up coming over and my best friend Tori was like, oh my god, congratulations, you know, on Aubrey, but that's my daughter's name, on your daughter, you know, she looks so cute. And he's like, yeah, I know, like she's like adorable, X, Y, and Z, like starts like going on about her. And I'm like, you literally have seen her twice and she's 3 months old. Who are you trying to fool here? No. Immediately no. He sits down for all of maybe like 2 minutes, and I think that he realized how awkward it was, because the girl that he had just walked in with was sitting there and then I'm sitting there, and I think that he just realized it was awkward. So he comes down and, you know, sits, talks for maybe like 4 or 5 minutes and then leaves. Come to find out, this is his ex-girlfriend. I never knew that. I just thought it was just some random girl that he was walking in with, because he just was with random girls literally all the time. So I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think that she was his girlfriend. I didn't think that she was his ex. I just thought like, oh, this is just another girl that he basically, unfortunately, got into his web. So basically I find out that it's his ex-girlfriend. So me and her actually ended up talking throughout the night. When the conversation came up, I basically told her, I was like, girl, I don't have any issues with you. I want to let you know that I said, when that man cheated on me, those feelings went completely out the window. There's no feelings there. There's no animosity there. I was like, I have nothing against you. And she was like, oh, okay, good, because I didn't know, like, you know, it looks kind of bad, but like, I swear I didn't know you were going to be here. And I was like, girl, I honest to God don't care. Like, please, you can have him. So me and her actually end up talking throughout the whole entire night, and she is a really cool girl. She's super chill. We're both teachers, so we kind of like related in that aspect, you know, so obviously she's like really good with kids. Started talking about like our different teaching jobs and stuff like that. We both were looking to go to this like community college near our town, and she just was really cool, and I really liked her vibe a lot. So the end of the night comes, and basically we all decided we wanted to like continue the night because it was kind of, you know, early still. So we decided to go to this beach nearby. Fortunately, Nicole drove Ryan there because he don't got no car, never does. So she basically, where's my other lash? Did I throw it in the garbage? There's no way. I think I threw my lash in the garbage. By the way, if you guys don't know what lashes I'm going to be using today, I'm using the style Dangerous from the High Killa collection. High Killa is an LA-based brand for lashes. They're absolutely amazing. They're super cheap, super affordable. You can get these lashes for like literally $12 right now. I personally love Round Trip, Dangerous, and Leisure. Those are my 3 favorites. If you guys want to check them out, link is in the bio. Use code Dakota15 for 15% off. Or it's Dakota20 for 20%. One of the two. I don't make any commission for that, by the way. I'm literally, this is not sponsored. I don't make any money from it at all. I'm just helping a girl out because I know how it is when you're starting your small business and you need to just get on the map, right? Basically what had happened is she dropped Ryan off. So she kind of was like, I don't think I can go with you guys because I dropped Ryan off. And obviously, like, we weren't gonna have him come there because that's weird because I'm there. So I guess he told her, like, oh, it's okay, just go with them. I'll just find a ride home. He probably found a ride home from one of the million girls that he brought to that hookah bar. She was kind of the beach with us, and me and her ended up talking for the rest of the night, and we exchanged phone numbers, and that was basically it for that night. Besides that, we didn't really like hang out after that or talk too much until about 5 months later. I ended up running into her at this community college that I went to. So I started college, and I was going to be I was actually on my road to becoming a psychologist. So I ended up going to the school. I'm having a great time, making new friends, and one day I post online that I needed this book. She ended up telling me that she actually had it, and y'all know that like textbooks in college are just ridiculously expensive for absolutely no freaking reason whatsoever. So they have this basically like this website where you can go on, you could be like, hey, I need this book, does anybody have it? And they'll tell you if they do. And she's like, hey, I saw that you posted on this website. I actually have that book if you want to meet, like, you know, downstairs tomorrow in the common hallway. And I said, sure, thank you so much. I was like super appreciative. So she ends up coming there and giving me the book. And so I asked her like, hey, like, how have you been? What's been going on? And she's like, oh, you know, just like going on these like stupid dates. Now, a little messy side note. Me and Jack used to talk. So remember how I told you at the hookah bar, it was me, my friend Tori, my friend Tom, and then my friend Jack, right? At that time, I wasn't dating anybody, wasn't doing anything, but I want to say a couple months after that incident, me and Jack started to like talk a little bit. It was nothing. We went on one date, and then we hung out maybe like one time after that, and I just realized that we were too good of friends. At the time, he was like one of my best friends. So I realized that we were too good of friends to continue anything, but Nicole also used to date Jack. So not only did she used to date my baby father, but she also used to date Jack, and nobody had any idea. Like, we actually were talking that night at the hookah bar, and she said something, and then my best friend Tori was like, wait, you and Jack used to date? And she's like, we were in a relationship, and our jaws were to the floor because Jack was one of our best friends. Like, imagine having a group of friends, and one of the guys in that friend group goes and gets a girlfriend and then never says anything about it. It was like a secret relationship. I'm just like, what the hell? And so Tori starts being like, Jack, you were in a relationship and you didn't tell us? Like, what the fuck? Like, we're all supposed to be like best friends. I guess while me and him were talking, she texted him and was like, are you hanging out with Dakota? And he was like, why the fuck is that any of your business? Like, why are you even asking me that? And she's like, oh, no, it's not like I'm like nosy or anything. It's just, you know, like, I want to see if she got out there again. And I was just like, girl, that is none of your freaking business to know if I got out there again, who I'm getting out there again with. Like, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I ended up like seeing her, and she ends up giving me the book, and I was like, oh, so like, how have you been? And she's like, just going on these like stupid dates with these stupid guys. It's like going nowhere. And I was like, yeah, girl, like I'm too focused right now on school and work and all that to even be like thinking about a relationship. So maybe you should do the same. And she's like, well, I actually asked Jack the other night if he wanted to go get drinks with me. And I was just like, first of all, we're not even 21 yet. Get drinks where? Where are you gonna get drinks at? Okay, second of all, he literally would go on and say that he like was never like officially with her. He was like, yeah, I asked her to like be my girlfriend, but like I never took it seriously. Like it's just she kind of like gave me an ultimatum, and like he basically was one of those situations where like he just wanted like company around, you know, and I guess she wanted them to be in a relationship, he didn't, so he asked her but didn't mean it and whatever. And he basically would like describe her as like, oh, I only hang out with her when I basically like want somebody around, but it's not anything serious. And he said that he has told her that before. Like he literally told me and my best friend Tori, like I've told her this so many times, like she knows, like I'm not that much of a dick. Like I literally tell her like it's nothing more than what it is right now. But when she said that, in my mind I just knew off the bat that she was saying that to try to get me jealous. And I even said it to my best friend Tori, and she's like, oh yeah, girl, that was a dick. She was definitely trying to get you jealous by being like, oh, me and Jack are going out for drinks. First of all, I knew they weren't. So I'm like, okay. And then second, I'm like, why are you trying to like get me jealous right now? And this would be a reoccurring theme for when we became friends down the road. She would always like say little digs to try to get me jealous, and I never freaking understood. I was like, oh, like are you guys back together? She's like, no. She's like, you know, because we can't be, because I guess so. Okay, side note, Jack is Indian, and so I guess when he broke up with her, he told her the reason why he's breaking up with her is because he can't be with somebody who's like not Indian. And for some cultures that is true. Like you either have like an arranged marriage, or you can't be with somebody because like they're not the same, they're not from the same like background as you. But in this situation, that wasn't the truth. He just said that to, I guess, not want to be with her anymore, which is so messed up. Like me and my best friend Tori used to yell at him all the time, and we're like, dude, like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like you can't just like say that to somebody. If you don't want to be with somebody, you tell them that. You don't just say it's because I'm Indian and my parents wouldn't approve. Like what the fuck? So she's like, well, no, you know, like we can't be together, but you know, we still hang out from time to time, and you know, I still have like feelings for him, X, Y, and Z. And she's like, but you know, I also am still kind of hanging out with Ryan. And I was like, oh, like you guys are still friends? And she's like, yeah, you know, we're just friends, like we hang out from time to time, but that's like basically it. And she was saying how I guess they were at the gas station, and one of the guys I guess knew him and was like, oh, you know, like your daughter, like she must be getting so big. And I guess he said something, I think around this time Aubrey was almost 1, so she was 10 months. And I guess he said, yeah, you know, she's like 6 months old. And I guess the girl Nicole had to chime in and be like, your daughter is actually 10 months. Which, and now I'm looking back and I'm like, how did you know that unless you're on my page? Like, how do you know how old my daughter is? Bitch, that's fucking weird. Again, red flag. So we ended up just talking, and she's like, we should hang out soon. Like, we should get drinks or something like that. That would be so much fun. And I was like, oh my God, girl, yes, absolutely. Let's freaking do it. Fast forward some time, Nicole and Ryan end up getting in a relationship. And I was kind of just like, I didn't understand it, because I'm like, you said how much he screwed you over and how much he hurt you and how he did all these things wrong to you, but yet, and also you see how he is as a dad, but you're getting in a relationship with him. Make it make sense. I honestly was just kind of like, like whatever, like is what it is, like don't really care. During this time, Ryan was not in my daughter's life basically at all. Thank God I have a broken nail so I could do this, because normally I'm like trying to get this shit on here. I move out of my dad's into my own apartment, okay? And around this time, I was actually thinking about switching my major from psychology to early childhood education. And Nicole was an early childhood education major. So basically she had contacted me and was like, hey, I'm actually leaving this college and I'm going to like a university. So if you want my books, let me know. I can like give them to you. And then I was like, oh girl, yeah, like that'd be perfect, because like I'm switching majors. And then we just started talking about like our majors basically, and how, you know, we wanted to be teachers. And like I was like, oh, like what age do you want to teach? Oh, I want to teach this age, X, Y, and Z. So we kind of just talked a lot about that. And then we wrapped up that conversation, and from time to time she would just like text me like random stuff, like, you know, like how like people will find excuses to text you. That's kind of like how it was. And then one day she actually asked if she could vent about Ryan to me, and I said sure. And that was a red flag too, because first of all, I shouldn't be talking to her in general, but also on top of that too, like, we should not be talking about him. Like, that should have been a boundary that I should have set up and should have been restricted. So she kind of starts talking to me about him, and I'm giving her advice and things like that. And that was kind of the trajectory of how our friendship began. She would basically text me, we would talk about him, I'd give her advice, etc. Then it got to a point where one day she was like, we should meet up for a drink. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. That would be like so much fun. I would love that. And let me remind you that this was around the time where my daughter's father was actively trying to be in her life again. He had this like epiphany. He called me and was like, I'm so sorry for the lack of, you know, parenting that I have done over these past, I think my daughter was 3 at the time. After these like 2-3 years, like, I'm so sorry, like, I'm so thankful for you for being such a good mom. I really want to like step up and help you and be there for her. And I basically told him like, yeah, that's absolutely fine, like, don't worry, like, that's cool. But I was like, this is your last chance. Like, after this you're not getting any more chances, because you've come in and out literally so many times, and I am absolutely done with it. So in my mind I'm thinking like, oh, he knows that we're hanging out, like, he knows we're hanging out, it's gonna be totally fine, like, he knows that me and her are meeting up. So like, okay, like, it maybe if this does end up working out and he does end up being in my daughter's life, you know, coming back and long term, whatever, we could all get along, right? Like, it could be like a good situation. So this is what I'm thinking, and that's how like most people would think. Most people would want the mother of their child and the like their girlfriend to get along, right? Wrong. We go and we meet up, and she basically tells me that she is not allowed to speak to me, she's not allowed to hang out with me, and that I guess she already proposed the idea to him. I told him that we were like texting because of like the book situation, and I guess he got like mad and was like, you
are not allowed to talk to Dakota. Like, you can't talk to her, you can't hang out with her, nothing. You guys cannot have anything to do with each other. He basically
made her like delete my number. So what she did was she changed my name in her phone. That way he wouldn't know that we were talking. And I'm thinking, I'm like, why do you want to be with somebody who tries to tell you who you can talk to, what you can do, and like where you could go? Like, that is just doesn't make sense to me. Like, he just was like so controlling over her. She's like, yeah, I don't know why he like doesn't want us to get along. I have some theories. One, I think it's because he didn't want her to like start hanging out with me, and me basically telling him like the real situation of want me telling her basically like the real situation of what happened, you know, from the time that my daughter was born into now when she's 3. And reason being is because lies. Like, he lies to people, and he basically tells them that I'm this like crazy baby mother and that I keep his daughter away from him. And every time that I used to hear that through the grapevine, I would call him and call him out on it and be like, how am I crazy and keep you from your daughter, but you don't ask to see her, you don't do anything for her? He'd be like, I didn't say that, stop listening to people. Like, so basically the image that he painted to her, he didn't want that to be tainted by the truth. And then for other reasons, he didn't want us to hang out and have, because he didn't like, okay, they were like in a relationship, but he didn't have her in a relationship on Facebook. He didn't post her, he didn't like do anything. So it was basically like they were together, but like nobody knew about it besides like their immediate friend group, and he wanted it that way because he's a cheater. So in his mind, he also didn't want her hanging out with me and telling me like all like the coupley stuff that they would do, because secretly he was plotting on trying to get me and him back together. And I'll basically cross that bridge later on. So he had his reasons, but we decided, well, you know what, F it, we're gonna hang out behind his back, and who freaking cares? So she would basically, when she would meet up with me and we would hang out, she would like lie to him and basically say that she was either babysitting or going to her parents' house, because at this point she had moved in with him into where he was living at that time. Me and her developed this, like, I'm not gonna lie, like pretty close freaking friendship. We'd meet up basically like every single week. We'd go out to dinner, we'd have drinks, we would laugh, and we would have a really good time. But of course she was not telling him that me and her were hanging out. I remember there was this one time where he wanted to see Aubrey, and we were planning on like something to do, because I never wanted him to like come to my house because I just didn't like it. So we would like go out and like do stuff. He didn't live in like a stable enough environment for Aubrey to like come over there, or like for me to go over there. And also I didn't trust him taking her by himself, and also he didn't want her by himself because he had no idea what to do. So we would plan dates to go to like the aquarium or like something like that, or just something that we could all go out and do, like me, her, and him. And he basically was saying that he wanted to start doing stuff, me, her, and him, as like a family together. And I was like, okay, I have no problem with that. And I said, why don't you have like Nicole come though? Because if, you know, you're taking her seriously and she's going to be in your life, that means that eventually down the road she'll be in Aubrey's life too, and it just would make more sense for us to all be together. And he's like, let me make one thing clear. She's not coming to anything, and she needs to mind her own business and stay out of what me and you have going on. And I was like, like what? So he did not want her around at all. He didn't want me around her. He didn't want her around me. He didn't want my child around her, like nothing. And it was just so weird, and it just honestly did not make sense. So at that point I had basically just been like, you know what, whatever, like I'm gonna hang out with this girl. He's gonna have no idea that we're hanging out. We're gonna do our thing. I knew that they weren't gonna last anyway, because he never lasts with anybody, because he has just like so many issues that he does not want to confront. Like she really did love him, and honestly, if he were to not be such how he is as a person, for lack of better terms, like they could have been very successful together. But the thing is that she enabled his bad behavior and never held him accountable, and he took advantage of that. You know, basically when they break up, like me and her can actually have like a good friendship and start like being more in each other's lives, and like we could actually take a picture and freaking like post it, right? It was basically like her secret, okay? And I guess there was one day where, you know, all good things come to an end, and I guess he was going through her phone, because he went through her phone all the time, but she never was allowed to go through his phone. And I guess he was going through her texts, and he went through mine and hers, and although she had given me a fake name in her phone, he read through it and basically saw like my name was in it, because she had said something and like had like my name in it or whatever. He put two and two together, figured it out, and basically broke up with her and kicked her out of his house for being friends with me. He literally broke up with Nicole and kicked her out of his house and was like, if you are friends with her, like I will not be with you. You cannot be here.
Are you friends with her, yes or no?
Hey, we're going to Ryder's birthday.
I don't give a
They ended up breaking up. That was, I want to say, like March, right? So after that, me and Nicole started hanging out a shit ton more, because I was actually allowed to be friends with her now. And we had a really good time. At this time, my mom ended up actually coming to live and stay with me, because she was moving back from Florida. And my mom was like telling me, like, you need to go out. You're young, like you're in your early 20s, and you just stay home all the time with your child. Like go out and do something. So there was this bar called 66 that was down the street from my house at the time. And when I tell you, we went there like every single Monday and Thursday, like clockwork, all the freaking time. We ended up getting to know like all of the bartenders. We became really close friends with one. Our other friend we would invite, and he would come out with us, and we would all just have like a good ass time. I look back at that time in my life, and I actually really did enjoy it. Like it was just so carefree. We were so young. We just like had no cares in the world. Like it was just such a fun time in our life. This is where like the weird part starts happening. I genuinely enjoyed our friendship when she was single, because when she was single, she was so much fun to hang out with. When she was with somebody, I literally wanted to like stick a pencil in my eyes every time I hung out with her, because she makes her life about her relationship. Like, and there's more to life than having a relationship. There's career goals, there's life goals, there's all of these things that you could be doing. But like when she was in a relationship, she would literally just make her whole entire life about that person. And a lot of times she was with really toxic men. Like, you guys think my freaking dating life is toxic? It's like apples and oranges compared to what the guys that she would date. It just like wouldn't make sense to me. It's like, girl, don't you want more for yourself? And I would try to have those like conversations with her, and she would just never listen to me. She met this really nice guy. He was actually a bar back at one of our favorite bars that we went to, and he was a really good guy, and I liked him a lot for her. He was very nice to her, very respectful. And in my head, I'm like, this is exactly what she needs, because she needs to get away from Ryan. Like, he's not shit. Like, she has, like, you know, a lot going for her. Like, she needs to just get away from him. So she starts talking to this guy, and he's really nice, and there's no red flags or anything like that. But I guess when they were talking, Ryan ended up reaching back out to her, because we all know that's just what guys do. When they feel that you're moving on or they like sense it, they'll reach back out. And up until this point, he hadn't reached back out to her at all. So she was like, I think it's like actually done. So he ended up reaching back out to her, and they had, I guess, met up and they had talked. And I was like, girl, you better not be thinking about getting back with him. Like, why would you want to? Like, I understand before, like, you guys were together and then me and you became friends and like, cool, whatever. But it's like, at this point, like, you've seen like how bad he is to you. You've seen that he doesn't like do anything for his kid at all. Like, you've seen how he is like as a person. Like, why would you want to get back with that? It's like, when people show you who they are, fucking believe it. Stop trying to change them. So she would essentially be okay with them being broken up as long as he didn't contact her. So she went on like dates with this guy and was like cultivating like a relationship kind of with this guy. But then she was also like still texting Ryan. So we were at the bar one day, Ryan had texted her and she was going to like show me it. And then I guess the guy who she was talking to, the bar back, ended up coming up behind her and like scaring her. You know how like you do that, like when you're just like talking to someone, it's like you'll come behind them and you'll like touch like their waist or something like that. So that's what ended up happening, and she was like, oh shit, I don't want him to see the text. So she quickly like put her phone down like this, and it was like really obvious to that guy. And after that, he just got like really turned off and like didn't really want to like talk to her that much. And I can't say I blame him, because that is shady. He's like, dude, like we are in our like, we're adults now, like you shouldn't have to be like hiding stuff from me, and if you are hiding stuff from me like already, that's a red flag. So she would basically self-sabotage so many opportunities in her life for Ryan, and it was like the most annoying thing to ever witness. So it was very frustrating being friends with her. So she told me that she like wasn't gonna get back with him. She's like, I just want to be there for him as a friend, because you know he's going through a lot. We ended up meeting up one night to get dinner, and she basically tells me how they're back together. She moved all of her stuff back in and that they're back together now. And I'm just like, are you not embarrassed? Like,
are you not ashamed of yourself?
I would literally come to this dinner and be like, having my tail between my legs telling me this information, because I used to tell her about herself all the time, be like, you need to stop talking to him. Like, do you not, like, how do you say that you want kids and you want a future and you want all of this stuff when you see this man not doing anything for the one that he has right now? And that's why I don't understand. I will never understand girls who stick beside a man who has nothing to do with his kids. Like, I do not understand that at all. You have to be such like a weak person to be with a guy, see that he does nothing for his kids, and stick beside him. So things started to just like really just like spiral downhill in our friendship after that. And I just became increasingly more frustrated with her and found it very difficult to be around her. And here's why. She would always throw little like side jabs at me, and you know, like when a friend like throws those like jabs at you and it just gives major like hater vibes or whatever. So she would say things like, I don't know, I would just be talking and I would say something like, I don't know, maybe I would be like venting about like Aubrey's father, and obviously I didn't talk about him too much because it's weird, because like that's his ex-girlfriend, well now girlfriend. But like I would say something like sometimes and I'd be like, yeah, you know, I mean obviously we would never get back together, but, and I would like, I don't even know like why I would be saying that. I think I would be like, oh yeah, like I would be like, I would say something basically like, I just am so glad that, you know, I ended up like getting out while I could, because I could never picture myself being with him. And then she'd be like, oh yeah, like absolutely. But then she would say something like, oh yeah, and you know, he wouldn't either. Like that ship has so sailed. Like he would never like, you know, like want to like be with you either. And I'd just be like,
You're not embarrassed. This is really embarrassing.
what the are you okay? Like, who says that? Or like she would like basically insinuate, she'd be like, yeah, like, you know, he basically told me that because they didn't say like I love you and stuff, but she said that he would basically like tell her like that he's never had feelings for anybody the way that he has like for her, or like that like she was like the closest or whatever. Meanwhile, he used to tell me he loved me all the time. So I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like, she would basically try to like throw jabs in there to be like, yeah, like it's me, not you, like I win, you lose, like I have him. And it's like, girl, I don't care, you can have him. Like, I don't even want him like that. Like, why can we not just like focus on being friends without you being weird about it? It would just give like major like hater energy. Like, it would just be like, do you have something against me because I used to date him? Like, I don't understand it. It's like, she honestly, I think the main thing was she wanted to make it like a thing where she wanted to like, I almost feel like she wanted to be friends with me to keep tabs on me, because there was one day where she asked me randomly, she's like, can I ask you something, and please don't think it's weird. And I was like, what? And she's like, would you ever in a million years get back together with Ryan, or do you still have feelings for him? And I'm like, girl, you should know this by now. We've had so many conversations. I like not even if we were the last two people on earth and we were the only like people left to freaking like procreate, like no, like that would never happen. And she's like, okay, because like every once in a while from time to time I think about it and I get a little bit like insecure. And I'm just like when somebody tells you they don't like somebody anymore, like they mean it. Like, so, and that should have been another red flag. Like I don't know even why I continued a friendship with her after that. And there was one time where we were talking about how we wanted to invite Jack to something, and she was like, oh, well, you should call him because, you know, he's not going to answer me, but he'll answer you because you're pretty. And I'm like, what? Like you are, like, okay, so are you. Like, what do you, like, I don't even, or she would say something to me like, oh yeah, well, you know, like when you invite him out to do stuff, he'll go because you're there, or like because you're pretty. But then again, she's saying to me how like, oh yeah, you know, like I asked Jack if he wanted to go out for drinks and he's coming because he wants to hang out with me. It's like, okay, like I don't know, she would just say like really like weird stuff like that, and like I wasn't the only person that noticed. So they of course ended up breaking up again. And she's like, I'm really done this time, like I just needed this one last time to see that like he's just never gonna change. Because the thing about him was like, she was taking care of him, he wasn't working, had no money to pay bills, didn't cook, didn't clean, didn't do anything. She basically would cook, clean, pay for all of his shit. Like she was basically like basically taking care of that whole entire relationship. So I'm like, I don't understand, like what do you see in him? It makes no sense. So she ended up leaving him and then getting into a like, not like relationship, but she ended up getting into like, she ended up talking to somebody else. And I was like, oh my god, thank god, because this guy's gonna completely take her away from Ryan and then she could finally move on. When I tell you, every single time we would hang out with her, because eventually my best friend Tori and I and her all would like go out to dinner and hang out and stuff, all she would talk about was guys the whole fucking time and her issue with whoever she was dating and blah 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 blah. And eventually I just stayed shut. When she would talk about it, I'd be like this at dinner, I'd be like, I didn't want to hear it because I didn't care. But my best friend Tori would get so mad at me because she'd be like, bitch, because you don't say anything, she only talks to me, and then if I don't say anything, I look weird. And it was like an ongoing joke, and she would like tell people about it. She'd be like, every time that we all go out with Nicole, like Dakota doesn't freaking talk when she starts talking about like guys and like the stupid shit she has going on. And like I think by a certain time she realized that I wasn't like reciprocating when she would talk about like stuff with guys and just go on and on and on about stuff that nobody wanted to hear. Like she would go on and she would like just look at Tori the whole time and like talk to her because she knew that I wasn't going to respond, and Tori would like hate me for it. But I just like, I didn't care. The thing with her is that she played victim to circumstances that she created. She would start talking to a guy, he would show her that he was toxic, she would be in a situation and she would vent to us, and we would tell her over and over and over again, like, girl, like stop, like just be by yourself, like it's obviously not working for a reason. And then we would give her advice and then she wouldn't take it and then do the same thing over and over and over again. And she would basically just like want to talk about drama. Like she would just want to be involved in drama, want to talk about it, and be in this chaotic loop. And eventually it gets so exhausting being friends with somebody like that. Because one day we end up going to the beach and we get Italian ice and we're sitting there and we're talking, and she basically brings up that Ryan has reached back out to her again. Now by this time, her and that guy that she was talking to were kind of like dwindling down because he had done some like toxic stuff, and she was just like, I'm over it, like I can't. And so she was like kind of transitioning out of talking to him, and then she's like, yeah, Ryan reached back out to me again. And I literally looked at her on the beach and I was like, are you stupid? Like I literally said to her, like sometimes, okay, listen, like I'm a nice person and I understand that like you'll leave when you're ready, but there's a difference between leaving when you're ready and then just never leaving because you don't know how to better like your life and yourself and like love yourself properly, you know what I mean? And like you, like there's some girls who literally stay in toxic dramatic relationships because they just want drama in their life, and that is just the truth. I've been seeing it happen so many freaking times. So I literally looked at her and I was like, are you dumb? I was like, you're gonna do this again?
Run!
Have you not seen the, like, history repeats itself over and over and over again with this guy? Like, do you not see what you're doing?
Stupid.
Like, do you not realize that you have a good future ahead of you? You just graduated college, you just got a car, you're thinking about, you know, moving out on your own and like this future that you're gonna have. You want kids, you want marriage, like, and this guy is not gonna be able to give it to you. Why are you wasting your time? And like, I got like so mad at her because I'm like, all you do is get with these men and then complain about the stuff they do to you, and then you have chances to get out, you have chances to not be with them anymore, nobody's holding you there, but you purposely put yourself in these situations knowing who they are. And then you come to us and you drain us and ask us for advice. And even when we would like tell her, like try to like end the conversation when she would like talk about a guy and we just like weren't being like reciprocative, like she literally would just keep going. Like I remember there was like one time where we were at dinner and she was talking about a situation. My friend Tori was like, okay, well, like what else is going on in your life? You know, how's work? How's, you know, this and that? And she's like, it's good. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. And we're just like, oh my fucking God. Like it was so draining. So I got like so mad at her and I was like, are you literally going to keep like playing yourself like this? And she's like, oh, well, you know, I don't think I'm like gonna go back to him. I think I'm just gonna, you know, like hang out with him and just like hook up with him and stuff like that. And I said, that's even worse. That's literally even worse. Like I told her, I was like, you deserve better. You need to love yourself more and put yourself first. At this point, this is ridiculous. And then she tries to say like, oh yeah, you know, like I talked to my therapist about it and she said that as long as I wasn't, you know, like hurting anybody else, it was fine. And I'm like, okay, but like you kind of are, because like we're all sick of hearing about it. And not for nothing, but like I don't want to like continuously be around you if you're gonna continue to date my child's father. And at this point, he really had like nothing to do with her. I was like, I'm sorry, but like I cannot support you as a friend if you are going to be with somebody like that. Basically trying to tell me that like if I was her friend, that I would want to see her happy and that I may not agree with her and I may not like support her, but at the same time, like I need to like support our friendship and things like that. And I was like, no, that's where you have me all wrong. I can be your friend, I can be here for you, and I can be available. But if you are doing something that is toxic to yourself, toxic to other people, I am not an enabling friend. And that's something that I always tell people. I have lost friendships, this one specifically, for this reason. I am not an enabling friend. I am not an enabling girlfriend. If you are wrong, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. If you're doing something that is toxic, I am going to tell you it's toxic. I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to tell you not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And so many people have all these yes men around them that it gets to a point where if anybody is in their circle that tells them about themselves, automatically you're the fucked up person. How could you say that to me? You're bullying me. You're blah, 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 blah. You're a narcissist. And it's like, no, sis, I'm trying to help you because clearly your therapist and everybody else around you enables your bad behavior because they don't want to tell you what it really is. And I'm sorry, but buzz, it's me again, bitch. Like, I'm going to continue to tell you because I know that you deserve better. I see you being better. And I see you in a toxic situation. It doesn't sit right with me. And also, like, I've been with him, so I can tell you firsthand, he's not going to change. But also, it's awkward because she kept putting me in this position where it was like, I'm leaving him, I'm never going back, and then would go back. So not only would she be compromising our friendship, because the last time that she broke up with him, I told her, I basically was like, girl, if you go back to him, like, I can't be friends with you. Like, I'm sorry, but like, and also I told her too, like, I would say to her, I would set boundaries and I would say, when we hang out, can we please not talk about Ryan? I literally one day like texted her and I was like, girl, if you're going to keep going back and forth, blah, 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 whatever, do you. But as a boundary for myself, cannot continuously be here hearing about him, hearing about what you guys are going through, hearing about just anything with him, because I don't care. I don't want to hear about him. It's like constantly hearing about somebody that you don't like. It's like, I don't care. And she would continue to do it. And at the end of the day, I can set a boundary, but whether people listen to it or not is up to me, right? Because if they don't, then I need to provide that consequence to show them, like, bitch, I'm serious. Like, stop fucking with me. So I told her the last time they broke up, I said, if you go back to him, I cannot be friends with you. I can't be friends with you. It's draining emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. I cannot do it. And she knew that and still started talking to him again. So I told her, I was like, girl, I'm sorry, but I can't support you in this. And I literally told her, and I don't feel bad about it, I was like, if you choose to be stupid, that's on you. Go be stupid on your own. Don't have other people co-signing your mess. Don't drag other people into it. And I literally remember that we had gotten into that fight, not like that fight, but I basically just like, I checked her, I put her in her place, and I was like, girl, like, you're being dumb. Like, I'm sorry, but you are. People will say like, oh, you're not being a supportive friend. No, I'm sorry, but when you have a friendship where for years you have to hear about this toxic mess, you've put boundaries down, you've set them in place, and people continue to violate them, I'm sorry, but no. Like, I supported you for as long as I could, but now you are choosing to just be dumb, like literally. And I remember on Instagram, she was like talking bad about me, and she was like thankful for my day ones and my real friends. She was like, when you have friends, you're supposed to support them. It doesn't mean that you have to, you know, agree with their decisions or agree with what they're doing. But if I'm happy, it's all that should matter. And it's like, girl, but you're not happy. That's the fucking thing, is you're not happy. You know when your friends are happy, you're not happy. I see you depressed with this man, trying to get him to change. He's not gonna change. You're not Bob the fucking Builder. Put the hammer down. We didn't talk for like a month, okay? She texted me out of the blue one day saying that they broke up and that she's for real done this time, that she's already talking to somebody else, and that basically like she wants to know if we can hang out. And I'm like, you know what? Sure. Like at the end of the day, like, yes, that was annoying and that was irritating, but I'm like, you know what? Sure, let's hang out, bury the hatchet. So we start hanging out again, going out, taking pictures, and, you know, like going out to dinner, going out to like bars and stuff. We start planning like, you know, stuff that we're gonna do. My friend ends up coming along with us, and we just ended up developing our friendship again, and we were at a really good place. So this guy that she was talking to was really nice in the beginning, and then she ended up moving in with him, and he ended up becoming literally one of the most toxic people ever. I'm not going to talk too much about him because what he does in his life and what his choices are, whatever. There's things that he had like legally pressed against him, and like from like outside looking in, like if you looked at him as a person and like saw like the legality issues that he had, and how when she would tell me how they would like get into fights and stuff, like you would just see like he is just not a good person. So she ends up moving in with him, and basically I start seeing her like less and less. She's not allowed to go out. If she does go out, she's only allowed to go to like someone's house and hang out with them there. She's not allowed to go out to like the bars. She's not allowed to go to any clubs. She's not allowed to go out for dinner or drinks or anything like that. And I'm just in my head like, bro, it is getting so freaking draining being fucking friends with this girl, because now we can't even do anything. We can't even do anything. So she ends up coming to my house one night for like a fire, and it's me, her, my friend Tori, my friend Brittany, and the whole entire time all she's doing is talking about this guy. We're gonna nickname him Aaron. People would try to interject, people would try to make new conversation. I would even try to ask her questions about how work was going, because she wanted to get a new job. How's that going? Oh, like how's, you know, I know you guys just moved in together, like how is, you know, like been like maintaining an apartment been? All she would do was go back to that. And it was to the point where my friend never has anything bad to say about anybody. Was like, Dakota, why the fuck are you friends with her? Like that is just a walking red flag. Like, why are you friends with her? Like at the end of the day, she was like a really nice girl, and everybody agreed like, oh my god, like she's like a really nice girl, she's a sweetheart. But like that's a lot to have to deal with like in a fucking friendship. Then one night she ends up texting me and Tori, and she tells us how basically her boyfriend and her had broken up, and so we end up having a fire. And again, it was like that same situation where she was like, I'm done with him, I'm not getting back with him. And we literally both looked at her and we were like, Nicole, we all know that after you leave here, you're gonna get back together with him. This happens every time. It was like the boy who cried wolf. Like, and she fixes her mouth to say, do you want to know why you broke up? And we're like, what? He was on a work trip and she was home alone and she was watching Shameless. He FaceTimed her and asked her what she was doing, and she said, I'm watching Shameless. And he said, you're fake because you told me last week that you would never watch Shameless, so why are you watching it now? And she was like, I don't know, like I'm here, I'm bored, I have nothing to freaking do, because like I said, she wasn't allowed to do anything. So she's like, I have nothing to do, so I want to watch Shameless. He broke up with her for that. He broke up with her because she was watching Shameless. And that she was fake because she said that she wasn't ever gonna watch it, and then she did.
Stand up! Stand up!
Yeah. Yeah. And the best part of it is this guy told her that, so she only had like 3 friends. It was me, one of her other friends, and then Tori. That was it, right? He told her that she should stop hanging out with people who do nothing with their lives and are still living home with their parents and have nothing to their name, because she's better than that and has more going for her future. So basically, because I was living home with my dad and didn't have a house in my name, I was a loser. Which, first of all, let's actually talk about it. Not only, Aaron, do you have 2 legal cases against you and charges against you, okay, but you literally live in an apartment, so you don't own anything either. and you are so insecure that you break up with a girl because she watches Shameless. But yet I'm the loser because I'm living home with my dad, you know, because I don't work a full-time job. I'm not a single mother, which is a job within itself. I have all these goals and these visions that I'm actively working towards. Financially stable, car is in my name, all my assets and all that is in my name. But I'm a loser because I live at home with my dad. And she said this to me and was like, didn't even like say anything after. She's like, yeah, he basically told me like all my friends like aren't doing anything with their lives and they're not going anywhere. She didn't even say anything like, oh yeah, like I stuck up for you guys, or I told him that wasn't true. Like she literally just out loud was like, yeah, he told me that like I shouldn't be friends with like, you know, any of my friends. Like she didn't say to me like, oh, he told me this about you, but she said all my friends. Bitch, I'm one of your only friends besides 2 other people. So who else is he talking about? Like, and that's what I'm saying, stuff like that. Like she would say stuff like that almost as if to like hurt me or like to hurt other people and then like laugh about it afterwards. And it's like just like hater energy, like so freaking weird. Fast forward, the pandemic hits, and basically there was one time where I was going to work and I had no one to watch Aubrey. And in the past she texted me and was like, hey girl, like I know that, you know, with the pandemic hitting that you probably need help, like I know you're a single mom. Like we were really good friends, so she saw me in like all these situations and was like, I'll help you whenever you need. And there was one time where I really needed a sitter. I needed to go to work for like 3 hours, you guys, literally fucking 3 hours. And she was a teacher, so she was out of work. And so I asked her if she can come, and she was like, oh my god, yes, absolutely, like no problem. And she had been around Aubrey a bunch because she used to bring her niece over and her and Aubrey would play. So she knew Aubrey. Like I would never leave her with, like, Aubrey only gets left with my mom, my dad, that's it. This was the first time I ever left with anybody outside of my family. So she came over and she watched her. And when I got there, we were just talking about the situation that she was going on with Aaron, and she was like, yeah, like he even got mad at me today because he was like, why are you going to her house to watch her kid when she's not paying you? You're not working right now, you need to be paid. And she's like, I tried telling him that, like, you know, you're my friend, I'm doing you a favor, and he was like yelling at me saying that you need to pay me. And I was just like, what? And like, first of all, it is so hard for me to ask people for help. I never ask anybody for help because I just do everything on my own naturally. But that just made me be like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, and like, again, why are you just letting him talk like this? It makes no freaking sense. I also forgot to mention there was one night where we went out where they were not together anymore. He literally was on a date with a whole other bitch. They were together, they broke it up, he kicked her out at literally 3 o'clock in the morning, kicked her out of her house, okay, and she went back to live at home, and we were out, and he sent her a picture of him and a girl literally on a date, right? And so we were out, and this is when I started to talk to a guy from my story time of dating a master manipulator, not Stefan, but I think I named him Jose. So the guy that I was dating, that was my first night. Remember I told you guys I went out to the bar and like I ended up meeting him? That was that night, okay? Remember when I was saying that there was a girl in it where I was like, my friend, we're not friends no more. This is who I'm talking about, this girl, Nicole. So that night I had met Jose. Remember how I was telling you how Jose's friend was actually interested in me, and that's why Jose came up to me to be like, oh, my friend thinks you're cute. Well, towards the end of the night, Jose's friend ended up talking to Nicole, and they ended up dancing together, literally like one time, that was it. And nothing happened. She didn't kiss him, like nothing. All they did was dance one time, and that was it. She was single. She's allowed to do what she wants when she's single, and not for nothing, but Aaron had just sent her a picture of him on a date with a whole other girl. So we had left, and I think I texted her that night, and I was like, or the next day, just to make sure she was okay. And I was like, oh, by the way, did, you know, so-and-so ever end up hitting you up? And she was like, oh no. She's like, you know, it was just a dance, like that was it. So I guess when her and Aaron had gotten back together and then she had moved back in, he was going through her phone and he saw our text messages together, and he flipped out on her and kicked her out again because of that, because he's like, wow, we're not together for 2 weeks and you go and dance with another guy. And in my mind, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? He was on a date with a whole other girl. You were single, you could do what you want. But basically from that, he said that he doesn't trust me and that I'm not a good friend because I take her out and make her talk to other guys, so that she wasn't allowed to hang out with me anymore, and that if she did it, it could only be if I was at their house. And that was where I was like, you know what? I'm all set. I am all freaking set. I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, case dismissed, chapters closed, story's over.
Cut the cameras.
I literally was like I am done. I am absolutely done. And I basically told her, I was like, listen, you do what you want to do. Do what makes you happy. But I said, I cannot be a part of this anymore. This is literally so draining. And I was like, not for nothing, but like, your boyfriend talks so much crap about me when he doesn't even know me, has never met me before, doesn't even know my middle name, knows nothing about me. If anything, people who know me, like, I'm normally the girl where my friends' boyfriends like, because they're like, oh, she has a good head on her shoulders, like she's not out in the streets all the time, like she, you know, has like shit going for her, and she's like a good influence. Like literally every one of my friends' boyfriends that's ever met me has like said to like my friend, like, yo, like be friends with her because she's a good girl. Like you could tell like she's a good friend. Never once has anybody like disliked me, and that freaking says something. Like, so, and I told her that too. I'm like, I've never had an issue with this. Like, your boyfriend talks shit about me all the time, doesn't even know me, but also you allow him to. If my friend, like my really good friend Amanda, like that would be like me getting with the guy and a guy talking shit about my best friend Amanda all the freaking time, I would literally be like, yo, she was here before you and she's gonna be here after you. Don't talk shit about her. Like, how fucking dare you? Let it happen. And then again, they end up fucking breaking up because she just picks unstable men. So she moved back in with her parents, and it was summertime, and me and my friend Tori would go over every once in a while and we would swim, and it was like a really good time. And it was actually getting to a point where she basically was not really like talking much about like, you know, her toxic relationships and like boys. Like she was actually talking about like real life shit, and I was excited about it. And one night I went over and this was the last time I ever saw her, because after this I was like, bitch, I am absolutely done. And we were talking, and she was kind of throwing like jabs at me like the whole entire night, but I was just like letting them like ricochet off my shoulder. I was like, whatever, like, bitch, like you're insecure clearly, like you're pressed is a panini, but I don't care. So I was letting it roll off, and then she brings up to me, and let me first say, if you guys don't know, I grew up with my father having an addiction to alcohol, and it put my family through a lot. There's a lot of trauma that I have from it, etc., right? So I've made it an active choice in my life to never become like addicted to any substances, and I've done a really good job in my 28 years of life. But occasionally I have a drink, like, because I don't have an addiction, so I don't have an issue with drinking, so I don't need to like monitor it or watch how much I'm doing, because I know when to stop. Over the summer, like I said, this was like basically the summer of the pandemic, everybody was drinking because nobody knew what to do with their lives. Everybody was stuck home, everybody was stressed, everyone's fucking kids were home, and I think everybody could agree that the liquor stores probably made the most profit off of COVID-19, right? So there would be days where like we would have nothing to do because nothing was open. We couldn't really go much of anywhere, and if we could, nobody really wanted to go because no one wanted to get sick. So during the summer, on my days off, I'd go to the beach from like literally 10 in the morning to probably like 5 at night. Me and my best friend Tori would go with Aubrey, and we would have a great day. So sometimes at 11 o'clock, yeah, I would crack a fucking Truly open. It's a Truly. Do people actually get drunk off Trulies? Because I've never gotten drunk off of a Truly in my whole entire life. Like, I'm Irish, by the way. Like, I'm like super Irish, so like I can drink my ass off, okay? Wasn't like overly drinking, right? I wasn't drinking to the point where, like, I had my daughter with me. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I wasn't going crazy. I wasn't drinking like 3 fucking packs and then driving. I would have like 1 or 2, sometimes 3, from the span of 11 in the morning to like 5 o'clock at night. And I drink water in between. I'd be eating like I feel like every parent in the world goes to the beach with their kids and has like 1 or 2 drinks. Like that is just like normal. Like people do that. So basically I was at her house, and we were sitting down and we were talking, and we were basically getting onto the conversation of the summertime, because at this point I believe it was like September-ish, and she basically says to me, to this day it's like, it's still the fucking audacity for me, because I'm like, bitch, okay. She fixes her mouth to say, yeah, you know what, like in the summer, like I wasn't gonna say anything, but like I guess now we can talk about it. You had a drinking problem, Dakota. You were like low-key an alcoholic, and if you didn't stop, I was like gonna say something like to your parents. Like you had your daughter and you'd be drinking at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and you had Aubrey, Dakota. Like that's bad. Literally, I almost said her name. I literally looked at her and I said, Nicole, are you fucking okay? I was like, yeah, I would have 1 or 2 Trulies at 11 o'clock Like, it was never 10 o'clock. I don't even wake up at that fucking time. That doesn't even, like, sound like me. I don't know. I just feel like she was, like, attacking me. And again, just, like, jabbing at me. Like, this girl always just wanted to fucking jab at me. And I don't understand why. Like, it makes no fucking sense to me. Looking back at our friendship now, I really feel like the only reason why she wanted to be friends with me was to, like, keep tabs on me. That way me and him would, like, never get back together. Little does she know, with or without her, we never would have fucking gotten back together anyway. Like, I don't have any feelings for that man. And I just put that together, like, by her, like, I think I said earlier that she had, like, texted me saying, like, hey, are you sure that, like, no matter what, you wouldn't get back together with him, and, like, things like that. It's just, like, little, like, hater jabs she would fucking throw at me. There'd be times where we were out, I forgot to mention this, where we'd be out with, like, me, her, like, my best friend Tori, and maybe other people, or maybe us three, and she would, like, literally, like, mom me. Like, I'm sorry, but I cannot stand those friends in the fucking friend group who don't have kids but act like they're a mom. No, I can't. It's so fucking annoying. And she would, like, literally mom me. Like, she would, like, take drinks away from me and be like, you're done, you don't need another one, like, you're fine. Or she would be like, you're not having another one after that. Or she would be like, oh, you're not doing this and that. And I'd be like, bitch, first of all, I'm older than you. Know your fucking place. Second of all, I'm older than you. I've been drinking since I was fucking 14. Like, at the time I was, like, 24. Like, I know what the fuck I'm doing. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Don't do that. Don't mom me. Unless I come to you and I'm like, girl, like, I fucking need you. Please help me. Don't mom me. It's like she would always try to, like, I don't know. She would always try to, like, make me look stupid. And it always backfired because, like, what do you have to say about me? That's my real, like, what do you have to say about me that's gonna make me look stupid? Quiet ain't no back talk. Like, so, and she knew she had nothing. That's the thing, like, when bitches have nothing to say about you because you're that bitch, they will, like, try to make other people look at you in a weird way, or they'll try to, like, make fun of you. Like, you know those friends, like, they'll make fun of you because they want to get, like, a rise out of other people, or, like, they want to be, like, center of attention, or they want, like, to just, like, impress other people, so they make fun of you. Like, that was kind of what she did. I'm just like, tell me you're insecure, then I'll tell me you're insecure. I believe that I wrapped up that night with her and I left, and I literally was pulling out of her driveway and I was like, I am never hanging out with this bitch again. And I never did. She literally ended up moving back with Aaron like a week after that, after swearing that she's done with him. And she would text, like, me and Tori in, like, a group chat and be like, hey, does anybody want to come over tonight and, like, watch movies? She'd be like, Aaron's away for the weekend. Or she'd be like, oh, hey guys, like, Aaron has all of his, like, guys over and I'm the only girl, like, does anybody want to come keep me company? Like, she wouldn't ever, like, hang out with us and be like, hey, how are you? Or she would be like, hey, let's go get dinner. Or, hey, like, I want to see you. Like, she's the type of friend that when she gets into a relationship, the only time she wants to see you is when her and her mans are fighting, or that person's, like, away, like, on vacation or something. And, like, that's not a fucking friendship. And to be completely honest, I think that this is the perfect time for me to bring up friendship red flags, because I'm somebody who has been in a lot of empty friendships where the only time that that person is a good friend is when they are single. You should be able to be in a relationship, have friends at the same time, and pour into both relationships. Like, when your man leaves you, or say something bad happens, who do you have if you've isolated and alienated yourself away from everybody that fucking loves you? Like, if you're with somebody who's controlling, who tells you what to wear, who tells you not to wear makeup, or tells you not to straighten your hair, or tells you you can't hang out with certain friends, like, I'm here to tell you right now, because a lot of us grew up in abusive households, or we think that that's normal, or if you didn't have growing up, if you didn't have a lot of structure or control in your life, you look for structure and control in a relationship. So sometimes when you're with a man or woman who is controlling you, or who is telling you what to do, it's almost as if you find comfort in that. It's almost as if you find stability, because you're like, finally, structure in my life. I literally had a friend who had no structure in her life growing up, and she met a man who was, like, way older than her, and he literally told her that she couldn't straighten her hair, couldn't go out places, couldn't have a job, okay, couldn't dress certain ways. And she straight up told me, she was like, when I got with him and he was controlling me, I liked it because I didn't have that growing up. And what we want now in a love language or from a partner, like those qualities that we seek, are the qualities that we did not get from our caregivers growing up, which is why it is so important to seek therapy, to unlearn those habits, to really rediscover who we are when our trauma is alleviated. That's why it's so important. Otherwise, you'll end up in these abusive relationships. Nobody wants to be in an abusive relationship. Nobody wants to be in a toxic relationship. But it happens because we don't know these things, right? And we cannot know what we have never been taught before, which is why the inner work is so important and why I fucking preach about it. So basically, she ended up being in a toxic relationship because she thought that control meant that he loved her or cared about her. She was seeking a quality within her partner that she did not have growing up. Partnership is about partnership, not ownership. Nobody owns you. No, you're not anybody's property. You are your own person at the end of the day. You have a right to wear what you want to wear, to put on however much or however little makeup that you want, to make your own decisions. If somebody's trying to tell you what to do, that is not healthy and that is not a relationship. That is somebody trying to control you because they're insecure. So therefore, they're going to project their insecurities onto you and make you miserable and make you unhappy and make you somebody that you never were. I think that it's really important that we surround ourselves with good people who want good for us. A good friend is not going to put themselves in a position to lose your friendship. A good friend is not going to violate your boundaries over and over and over again and then get mad when you react to it, right? A good friend is not going to throw jabs at you about anything, about past relationships, or try to like make fun of you when they're around other people. That way, you know, you're the target and you're the butt end of the joke. That way they can make other people laugh and make them like them. A good friend is not going to be insecure about you. Like a good friend's going to hang out with you and not be weird if a guy like gives you a compliment, right? Or says that you're pretty or says that you're cute. A good friend is gonna be like, yes bitch, yes you are beautiful, and that guy just told you that and I fucking agree. Like a good friend is not gonna be a hater. I think it's really important to look out for the red flags within friends. If you are with a friend and you are like getting ready or putting on makeup and they're like, ew, like why are you putting on so much makeup? You don't even need that. Or why are you putting on so much makeup? We're just going to the pool. That is a fucking hater right there, okay? If you're with a friend and she is making jabs at the people that you date or the guys that you talk to, saying that they're ugly or saying that they're short or saying that you pick like ugly guys, or they're saying like, ew, like if you show them a picture of someone that you're talking to and they say ew, or someone you have talked to and they say ew, like that is a fucking hater right there. Friends with somebody and they're constantly making fun of you because they want other people to think that they're funny because they're too insecure to validate themselves by themselves, so they need outside validation. That is a fucking hater. And those are friends that you guys don't need. When you are with a friend, it should be somebody who is positive, uplifting, loves you, reciprocates the same energy. If you leave your friends and you feel like you have to go smoke a cigarette because you were so stressed and so heavy and weighed down, those are not good friends. Those are energy vampires disguised as good friends. And I know it's hard because sometimes we think, okay, well, like this friend has redeeming qualities, right? She's not bad all the time. Or this friend has, you know, good things about them that I do like, but they do this, this, and this, and it really bothers me. I understand that, but here's the thing. If you address something one time should be enough. If you say to somebody, hey, this is what you're doing, it's hurting me and it's bothering me, and they continue to do it, here's the thing. First time is a mistake. Second time is a choice. Third time after that, they know that they can manipulate you and just walk all over you because you've shown them there's no repercussions for when they violated the boundary twice, okay? Once is a mistake, give people a pass because mistakes fucking happen, right? Second time is a choice. And then anything beyond that, they know it's hurting you and they're continuing to do so. You don't need people like that in your life. Not a friendship, not a relationship, not a marriage, not a family member, fucking nothing. You guys really need to start listening to your bodies when you're around people. If you're around people and you feel good, those are the people you want to keep around. If you're around people and you feel heavy and you feel anxious and you feel like you can't even breathe, that is God in the universe warning you that you are around people who are not they don't have good energy. They're not in energetic alignment and they're not going to add value to your life, and they are actually going to take away. You are worthy of a good friendship. You are worthy to have people in your circle who want to see you win, who want to see you succeed, who don't get jealous or envious or like want what you have or try to make you feel bad for like things that you've done or try to make you feel stupid. Like a good friend is going to stick with you through and through, but they're also going to hold you accountable. I think that we should normalize not being enabling fucking friends. Like if you're doing something and I feel like I can say something and help you, or if you're doing something and I feel like it's just not good for you or good for anybody else, I'm going to say something. Accountability is love. If somebody's holding you accountable, that means they fucking love you, okay? Like I said, when I look back on my friendship with Nicole, there's a lot of good memories. We had a lot of good times. We shared a lot of good times. And when I look back, I genuinely think of fondness. But I also look back and I see that there was a lot of things that she purposely wanted to do to hurt me, to throw jabs at me. And there was a lot of weird bitch behavior. And because of that, ultimately, that outweighed the good times that we had. But like I said, there was redeeming qualities, and she was at times a very good friend, and we did have such good times together when she was like single. Like she genuinely was a good fucking friend and someone that I enjoyed being around when she wasn't so focused on these stupid ass boys. But I look back at also the way that she wanted to hurt me and things that she would say that would hurt my feelings and violating my boundaries a bunch of times. And I just don't feel like that friendship would have continued, especially not with the way that I am now. Like I don't play when it comes to me, okay? I care about myself too much to surround myself with people like that. But no hate to her whatsoever. Wish her the fucking best. I will always look back and think of the fond memories, but they're definitely worth things that made me want to make this story time and just kind of, you know, raise awareness on just how sometimes the friends that you have in your group are not your fucking friends. They're your haters. Or they're your like frenemies, like straight up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a like. Comment down below if you've ever been friends with somebody where like something like this has happened. You've gotten just like weird energy from them or hater energy from them. Have you ever been friends with your baby father's girlfriend? This was a first and last for me. Also, don't forget to turn your notification bell on. That way you're notified every single time I post a video on YouTube, period. Don't forget to subscribe to my personal development podcast. It's called Sis Let's Heal, available on all streaming platforms. The link is directly in my bio. Thank you guys so much again for 20,000 subscribers. I still cannot believe that this time last year, I had just hit like 9 or 10K. And a year later, we just hit 20K. That's just such a huge milestone and goal. I love you guys so fucking much. You guys are like literally just, you mean absolutely everything to me, and I wouldn't be here without any of you. And from the bottom of my heart, you guys are like literally my fucking family and my best friends. So thank you so much for just supporting me, for coming on here, watching my stories, liking my stuff, DMing me and just telling me if I've helped you or if my videos make your day better. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys, and I will never ever take this platform for granted. And I love you all so fucking much. So thank you so much for tuning in and just sticking around with me. Some of you have been literally rocking with me since 100 subscribers. You being here throughout my growth, throughout my ups and downs, throughout everything, absolutely means the world to me. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, afternoon, wherever it is that you are. And until then, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
Isn't an option due to unusual